We are at a moment of honest crisis. Originality in fashion is not dying, it's been sidelined. In 2025, creativity is being edited out of the conversation. It's being hemmed in by safe bets, algorithmic appetites, corporate risk aversion, and a recycling economy that confuses repetition for clarity. If you feel like every season looks the same, you're right. This is not nostalgia, this is fatigue. And it's time someone said it plainly. The first problem is structural. Fashion today is not just culture. It is commerce with a deadline. Houses are corporations with quarterly expectations, and boards are allergic to anything that might scare sales. That pressure makes risk look reckless. So instead of commissioning a voice that could change a language, executives often ask for what sells: a tastefully updated archive, a familiar silhouette, a predictable headline. The result is collections designed to minimize surprise. They are engineered to be digestible for a feed, not essential for a century. The second problem is social media. Platforms have shortened our attention spans and flattened nuance. A look either goes viral in 15 minutes or it's considered a miss. Designers are now writing for virality, instantly readable, instantly shareable, instantly monetizable. That speed rewards echoes, references the audience already recognizes, because recognition converts. Originality, which often requires context and patience, does not. It's expensive to wait for a new idea to land emotionally, so we no longer cultivate the slow conversations that produce lasting design. We harvest visual familiarity instead. The third problem is archival dependency. Archives are not the enemy, far from it. They are a library of possibility, but when the archive becomes a template instead of a toolbox, it calcifies. Too many newcomers to houses treat heritage as instruction manual rather than inspiration. The first archive-heavy collection can be brilliant. It reads like a respectful introduction. The second, if it repeats the first, feels defensive. The third becomes a loop. That loop says less about respect for history and more about a fear of authorship. There is also a cultural hunger at play. In times of uncertainty, economic instability, political turbulence, climate anxiety, people gravitate toward the familiar because it provides emotional anchor points. That is human, understandable. But designers and brands cannot outsource courage to consumers' nostalgia. If the world needs comfort, our job as creative leaders is to offer comfort that contains a question, not comfort that's only comfortable. Originality asks us to be uneasy long enough to invent. Let's be frank about craftsmanship and craft innovation. There are pockets of genuine invention, new textiles, radical sustainability techniques, reimagined tailoring for modern bodies. But these advances are often invisible next to the spectacle of recycled logos and trend recycling. Technological progress and material innovation are happening, quietly, patiently, yet the mainstream conversation is dominated by surface-level references. That is a failure of editorial attention and consumer imagination as much as it is a failure of design. And then there's the myth of solitary genius. For decades, we loved the idea of the lone auteur who burst into a house and remade everything overnight. That mythology is seductive but misleading. Real, enduring authorship is an arc. It's a trilogy, not a single headline. It requires time, trust from the house, and the patience of investors. When creative directors are judged by immediate sales and instant social proof, we choke the very process that could let them mature into true authors. We are demanding fireworks and punishing the slow structural work that creates them. We must also call out the role of imitation culture. When a look is labeled iconic, it becomes a template to be remixed by everyone from mass retailers to micro-influencers. This democratization has value. Access matters, but it also dilutes originality. When the market rewards rapid duplication, the incentives tilt away from risk and toward rapid replication. The creative economy is being gamified into a pattern recognition contest. Who can produce the most recognizable variant the fastest? That is not artistry. That is speed dressing. So how do we fix it? First, we need different measures of success. Applause and short-term sell-through cannot be the only metrics. Long-term cultural impact, craft investment, and storytelling that requires time to understand should be valued equally. Second, houses must give designers the runway of patience. 3 collections minimum before the verdict of authorship is declared. Third, we as an audience must relearn to be patient. If a voice needs a season to find itself, let it. If innovation arrives softly, receive it with curiosity, not instantaneous dismissal. We must also reward risk in real terms. Buy into work that feels authored. Celebrate designers who take a stand, even if that stand is niche at first. Support brands that invest in material research, in inclusive sizing, in radical craft. Talk about those risks publicly. Shift the editorial gaze away from the 10th reissue of a 1990s hemline and toward the young atelier experimenting with a new weave, a new cut, a new politics. And let's be clear, this critique is not picturesque hostility toward heritage. Houses and archives are treasures, they are the DNA of fashion's language. But DNA is meant to evolve, not ossify. The greatest designers honored the archive by turning it into argument, by using it as a scaffold for propositions we could not have imagined otherwise. That is the standard of originality we should demand again. 2025 does not have to be the year originality died. It can be the year it was called back into duty. That requires courage from those who fund fashion, curiosity from those who write about it, and patience from those who wear it. It requires that we refuse to equate comfort with creativity, and that we insist on work that asks a question rather than simply echoing an answer. Fashion has always been a language for the future. If we want it to be that again, we have to stop buying the same grammatical structure dressed in a different decade's scarf. We have to insist on sentences we haven't heard before. We have to demand authorship. If you love fashion for its potential to change how we see the world, then be the kind of audience that supports risk. Celebrate those who try and fail. Invest in those who persist. Because the death of originality is not inevitable, it's conditional. And the condition we can change is our attention. And that's the real tragedy of 2025 fashion. We are living through the death of originality in real time. Everybody is referencing, recycling, repackaging, but almost nobody is creating. Fashion used to shape culture. Today, it's mostly reacting to culture. And when an industry becomes reactive instead of visionary, its soul begins to thin out. Designers today are terrified of failing, terrified of being compared to legends, terrified of upsetting the board. And fear kills imagination faster than anything. So they stay safe, they stay small, they stay inside the archive because the archive can't talk back. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You cannot build a new era of fashion using the vocabulary of the past. You cannot honor a house by imitating it, and you cannot move culture by repeating it. Fashion in 2025 looks expensive, but it feels empty. It looks polished, but it feels predictable, and people feel it. That's why there is a hunger, a deep, almost desperate hunger for something real, something brave, something with a point of view. We don't need louder clothes, bigger shows, or more celebrity faces. We need courage, we need conviction. We need designers who are willing to be misunderstood, who know how to communicate through fabric, who understand that fashion is storytelling, not nostalgia marketing. I genuinely believe the next era of fashion will come from the designers who choose to break away from this cycle, those who will dare to add something new into the conversation instead of re-editing history, the ones who will treat archives as reference points, not crutches, the ones who will stop playing safe because the industry stopped rewarding risk. Originality isn't dead, it's just waiting for someone brave enough to pick it up. And if there's one thing I want you to take from this video, it's this. Fashion only moves forward when someone chooses to move first. History never remembers the safe designers. It remembers the ones who took risks, who broke patterns, who refused to copy because they understood that their perspective mattered. When we look back at the greats, McQueen, Galliano, Alaïa, Lagerfeld, Rye, Phoebe, they weren't trying to imitate anyone. They weren't trying to revive a decade. They weren't trying to recreate old success. They were building their own language. And that's what's missing today. A new language, a new vision, a new chapter that isn't afraid to stand on its own feet. Designers in 2025 need to stop being scared of making something that people might not get immediately. Not everything needs to be Instagram ready or celebrity approved in 10 minutes. Some collections are meant to grow on us. Some ideas require time. Some silhouettes need space to breathe. That's what creates legacy. Because the truth is, originality is risky, but repetition is fatal. I hope that 2026 is the year fashion decides to be bold again. I hope it's the year houses stop hiring creative directors who are terrified of their own imagination. And I hope it's the year we see fewer mood boards of archived pieces and more mood boards of something we've never seen before. Thank you so much for watching, for thinking, for questioning, and for demanding more from this industry with me. If you want deeper analysis, sharper commentary, and essays that actually make you feel something, get GTWJ Issue 001, our digital magazine. A new issue drops on the 1st of every month. Your support means everything.